Story Chat with John Fornoff, the art and passion of storytelling. Here's your host, Brian Bullabush.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Story Chat, our little corner of the internet where we hope to inspire and encourage you guys about the art and passion of storytelling.
Yes.
John, you look like you got three weirdos behind you.
Oh no, these are very good friends. Actually, we're starting something called the Writers Mafia. And
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm sorry. I take back the weirdo comment. Don't kill me, please.
Yes, we will help you. Yes. These are my good friends. We're here in the Smoky Mountains. Let me show you where we are, and I'll introduce you to my friends here in just a moment. I'll give you a sense of where we are. No, actually, it's more important who we are, and then we'll show you where we are.
There you go.
We're here all week for a writer's room experience. And so we are mapping out an animation series. We can't tell you what it is, but it's going to be fun and amazing. And so we've been working every day on this. We came in on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And then we've been working every day through Friday, and we got a little fun stuff on Saturday. And we've been working on the series and mapping out the story arc, mapping out episodes, and it's just been a lot.
And you're getting paid for it.
Amazingly so. I mean,
wow, John, that's the dream right there.
So it's very much a blessing. It really is. So let me introduce you to my friends here. So I'll start.
Please do.
With Jeff.
Hello.
Okay, Jeff McNeil, right? Okay, and Jeff, can you tell me a little bit your background and stuff? Is that okay?
Sure.
Can we share? Okay,
Sure.
I know it's the mafia thing, but we can it's okay.
Yeah, so I came into animation about 15 years ago, and I had the wonderful privilege of working for Disney feature animation for 9 years, and have been working towards branching out and having our own company. And so this is kind of what led up to this here and why we roped him into all this. So we're kind of operating our own little business on the side, as well as doing like freelance work and stuff like that here. But yeah, I've worked in the animation industry, mainly doing character effects, like a specific craft, but have been working towards bigger picture stuff, like getting a company together to actually produce original content. So that's our dream, and that's our trajectory. And that's where I'm at the moment.
Oh, that's awesome. Can I ask which Disney stuff you've worked on? Because that's really cool.
Okay. So I started with Vault, worked on Tangled, worked on Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen.
Oh, wow.
Big Hero 6, Zootopia, Moana. Those are the big things during that.
Good ones, all the good ones.
You've probably heard of one or two of those.
Yeah, yes, I have indeed.
That's cool, Jeff. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And we have Aaron Adams with us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks. So I'm actually business partners with Jeff, the company that we're starting. And we were both at Disney mostly during the same time. I started around Tangled, and I left around Moana to do more independent animation. And we got roped in together, and we're trying to get that sort of thing off the ground now.
That's awesome. What's your dream, Aaron? What would you say is your dream? Like ultimately, if you could you got a blank check, and I'm going to pay after this. I'll pay whatever you need.
I'm not going to hold you to that.
Okay. Yeah, you better not. Okay, we're pretending. Okay, we're storytelling. Okay, all right. But let's say I'm going to write you a check for whatever you need. What do you want to do ultimately?
Yeah, well, our dream is to produce animated content that has real heart, real meaning behind it. We often talk about like truth and entertainment, and creating content that actually talks about stuff that's really impactful and meaningful in life. So yeah, if I could do anything, it would be to build a studio, build a place where people who have that sort of same mission could find a home and contribute to those stories. That's the big dream.
You're telling, and we won't go. I'll come back to that because I want to ask you about how you treat people along the way, how important that is, and we can talk about that value. We excited about what's on the screen, but what happens as we create? How do we treat people?
Sure.
And we want to jump into that. Let me switch over here to Nick. Thank you very much. Good to have you guys. Okay, we have Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick.
You
You
can
should
put
say
your last
something
name.
about, I'm Nick Lavanos. This is fair to know. I am not in animation or Disney, and I'm not officially part of these guys' amazing company. But I'm sort of, I'm invited anyway, somehow.
We found him on the side of the road. He was hitchhiking, like a very intelligent person. So he said, we need somebody like that.
I've deceived everyone into believing I'm intelligent. No, I've come from live action, written and directed a couple feature films and a slew of short films. I can't remember how many at this point. And the bread and butter sort of full-time stuff is being a teacher of film production at a university. And that's a really good fit for me. I like sort of living into sort of mentoring and coaching and being a part of creating sort of long-term relationship with these people who sort of come in when they're sort of really formative years, and then we get to spend time together until they sort of go out into the world and start doing amazing things.
It's good.
That's awesome. What college, if I may ask?
It's Southern Adventist University. It's a small liberal arts college in Collegedale, Tennessee, right outside of Chattanooga.
Okay, cool. Oh, so you're like 3 hours north of me.
Yeah, I'm almost at, this is not too bad here, actually. This is close enough to home that it's drivable.
It's true.
What's cool is this kind of, I'm sorry, you're going to say something else. You had
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah. Is this hits all my, these guys hit like all the passions I have, like for creating great content and also sewing into next generation. It's like, it's like cool how God put everything together. Pretty cool. What you got an inspiration?
Well,
I see a light bulb.
Well, yeah, I do, because I've got a direction. I got a direction for this episode. Is you constantly talk about the writer's room. How have you guys scheduled / structured the past week? Like, I know you can't talk about specifically what you're working on, but was day one like coming up with character designs, day 2 talking about the first 3 episodes, day 3 the next 3 episodes? Like, how have you structured this? Because I could see this being helpful, because I know a bunch of writer friends who it would help them out a lot, just getting together with some people and just hammering some things out. And that's obviously what you guys are doing. So how does that work? How does a writer's room work?
What can we do to share? Okay, before we jump into the question, I got to show you where we are. So I just want to show everybody.
Oh, yes, please.
What a blessing it is. So Aaron and Jeff figured out a really cool place. We just shared this with you as part of the fun. So this is where we are. Yeah, thank you for pointing the right direction. Okay, here we go. We are in the Smokies, and you can see the Smokies there. And like, we are so blessed. Just this, we're in like an Airbnb kind of thing in the Smoky Mountains, and what a great setting for just talking about story and stuff.
Yeah,
so
the cool mountain air.
We can kind of all participate on this one, but pretty much we started on talking about character. We mapped out our characters. And then, I'd like to hear from your point of view. What you guys thought? How we mapped things out.
Yeah. I mean, like, first day, we really tried to solidify our characters. So we were kind of lucky to have, rough ideas of who our characters were and kind of what they were about. But they didn't go deep enough, and there wasn't a lot of interpersonal connections, that sort of thing. So the first day was really just kind of solidifying, brainstorming on what would make for compelling arcs, what would make for compelling stories. And that kind of accidentally just started getting into more of the bigger structure, because you're thinking about how does this character grow over the entire span of the story. And I guess we made a decision at some point that we were going to make this a fixed length thing. So, a lot of animation is more about establishing a really strong formula and a really good sort of like situation that can be repeated again and again. And this lent itself towards, those long arcs and actually coming to a completion, because we realized, well, we're going to have an ending, so we need to make it worthwhile. And
so what we did is through that, we just mapped out. So first day we spent a lot of time on the characters, and I forget how we broke this all up, but basically the steps were we mapped out our characters. Then we started on our story arc, and tell me if I went wrong on any of this. So tell me, okay, but we did our big story arc.
Yep.
And that's where we went through it. Now, how do you do a story arc? What's cool is we talk about the 10 story beats. How to craft the ride of your story we teach the launch seminar, and part of what you get in that is a 10 story beat, the roadmap. And so we follow the roadmap for the entire story arc, like over 4 seasons of shows. So we've got 12 episodes in each season. It's over 48 episodes. How do you do that? Well, we have what's the ordinary world of our characters? What is the inciting incident? What is what's the crossing the threshold moment? Went all through those 10 story beats for the entire story arc, as if it was one story. So that's over 4 seasons. And then we started, now we telescope down, we focused on on season 1, and I think that actually just fell out of doing characters or something. One of these that kind of just, we popped out a pilot out of this while we're doing it. So we focused on our pilot episode. So we got an entire story arc over 40 episodes, zoomed in, and we focused on our pilot, and then from there we started building out. We started to figure out, okay, where does season 2, 3, and 4, where do we chop them up? And then we focused back in on season 1. We got the pilot. Now we need to map out the other 11 episodes. So we went ahead and just mapped those out. And we did it, by the way, kind of fun, just as a story prompter. We used the 10-beat story arc again to like map out our episodes of the first season. So we used it for the story arc. We took that roadmap and we applied it to our entire season 1. And we mapped out some basic storylines. And then we'll take this same story map, and once we get to episode 1, we map that out. We'll do it that way too. So that's basically what we're doing. So we do character, story arc, pilot, and then figuring out where we're going as far as those seasons. So yeah, that's been our structure. And we have fun. By the way, it's so important to have fun. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're allowed to?
Sure.
Oh, sure. Okay. Okay. There's something about, we got to keep our work going right. But we as creatives, this is important for you as you're watching or listening, to have that fun time, to have that entertainment time, and just to enjoy where you are. And you can use that to, like, we went to like certain restaurants. We're like, oh, let's use this. Oh, we could do this. We start using what we do around us for fun and employing that into what we do. So what are some fun things we've done?
We've ate a delicious,
Oh
food at restaurants that have huge portions.
A cinnamon roll that was like about the size of your head. It was.
That sounds like the South.
What's that?
It sounds like the South.
Yes. It was so big. It had like the cinnamon stuff around, and it had like the we call it the au jus around it, the icing around it, and there's a big like butter knife in the top, and Aaron took it like the sword of the stone, like, and he pulled it out.
Yeah. It can be a brick.
It was amazing. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So part of why we're here is it relates to the actual project. It's not just a nice place to go to.
Oh yeah.
It actually is related to the location, the culture, and a lot of things involved with what we are actually trying to develop. We had a strong idea of what we were working on prior to this, but we didn't have the structure. We didn't have the writing component kind of there yet. So that's why we focused on this process specifically, because coming from the animation side of things, we already had character designs underway. We already had scenery underway. We developed a lot of ideas, but we had to pull them all together. So now this is part of that, and having fun and being in this location is inspiration and research. I say that kind of jokingly, but also seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, we're having fun, but we are soaking up the environment, and you get ideas, and these ideas are relevant to the content we're creating. So it's important that we don't just work when we're here, that we actually go out and enjoy the area. We've been riding alpine sleds.
Yes,
we've been going down, eating good food, looking at tourist shops and different things, and trying to get like the idea of culture and art and different forms of inspiration from the whole area. And it's working really well. And it's also giving us the state of mind we need to be able to create, because we work really hard and we get going and we lose track of time, but it's good to take a break because it refreshes your mind. It fixes your perspective. It's kind of a little bit of a reset, because you get drilling down too far, you can get locked into something. So that's why we're having fun. That's why we're not taking this too seriously. Also, we're all here for a week, and we're not here just to work every hour of the day. So,
but it's amazing. We're getting a lot of work done. It's amazing. It's super productive. We're very blessed. God's really been blessed us on that. And it's interesting. We didn't pick just any restaurant. Like we were in an old mill from the 1830 that was reconverted into a restaurant. And so you get the feel of. Today we ate in a barn. It's an amazing place. That's where the monster cinnamon roll and other stuff. Just the fun of it has been adding a lot to our creativity. What would you say, Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being in nature as well, just kind of soaking up these surroundings. I love the architecture.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah. So we're kind of in a touristy area, but it's actually fun to see how Southern culture and Appalachians are caricatured.
Yes.
For mass consumption. It's kind of what animation does. You kind of try to find the heart of something and the similarities and stuff that's relatable to everyone else. So
and then, and you fold into, so we were talking about how Disney guys, they went to this certain restaurant in Burbank. I think it's the Tamil Shelter. I think it's what it is. But you walk into this restaurant and it looks like, oh my goodness, we walked into Snow White's cottage. Well, that's kind of by design. So the animators used to hang out there at this restaurant and they said, ooh, I like these exposed dark beams here. Oh, look at that quaint little fireplace. Look at the white stucco walls. And they incorporated that. You're inspired by what's around you. So that's important. Nick, what about the fun part? What did you say?
I mean, we climbed to the top of a tower and got to see a lookout in every direction, and sort of there was clear things labeled. And I've sort of been in this area for a while living, so I can see like, oh, there's Mount LeConte over there. I know that's like the highest peak in the area. Or Cades Cove is over in that direction. And so just getting to see all that stuff from like a bird's eye view. And I think we're not done. We might get a chance to actually hike out into Smokies a little bit, and that'll be really fun. But walking like in like these treehouse walks through the trees,
Oh,
and
yes.
like playing like a kid on slides and stuff. All these some stuff I didn't even know was in this area is super, super fun. I'll probably bring my kids at some point. I'm already having my own house.
And what we'll do is we're taking these ideas and having fun. It's good to have a break just for a brain anyway. But also we're thinking, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if we put this into our show? Ooh, what about this? Which is, yeah. So yeah, it's been.
Would you encourage people who are stuck with writer's block? This is another, like another medicine for writer's block, just to get out and just to experience things that your characters would experience, or be in areas that your characters would experience.
Yeah, that's actually really good, and that's to kind of get the juices flowing. And interesting. Okay, with writers, we have this thing called writer's block. So Nick is more the writer side of things, and we've got storytellers here with animation. But I'm interested. I've heard this part. Have you guys you have animation block?
Okay. Creative blocks
Okay.
come in every field, in every discipline.
But do you find, like, what are some ways to break through that? And Nick, I'd like to hear from you too, as far as that. How do you break through that? You're into, it's like, I know if I can get through. I feel like I'm not getting through. What would you?
Research is one thing, of course.
It inspires, right? Yeah.
You can do that by yourself or bring it into the conversation. I think one of the key things that we had a theory would be successful is to get the right size group, which we felt this was. And we had 2 people who were closely associated with the content and 2 people who had to be brought up to speed. So we had fresh perspective, and we had 2 that have been working on the project for a while. So we had that kind of balance, that check and balance and perspective built into this week. It's also a matter of, we click very well. Like, we hoped that we kind of know each other, and getting the right people in the room.
Yeah,
Getting the right people in the room matters. The right mix, and not too many and not too few. And what we're finding is we are constantly getting ourselves out of that block quite well. And we're shocked. Some of the bigger questions that we slightly avoided for a while are getting answered. And not only are they getting answered, they're becoming the strongest points of what we're working on, which is amazing. Like, I would have given up if I was working by myself on this sort of thing.
Yes, yeah.
And hearing someone else start to solve the problem, you may have the answer to it. They may have the beginning, someone will have the middle, somebody else has the end. It's been amazing at getting us to a result, and it's working very, very well. We're not even done the week, and we're in a really good position where we are.
It's been one of the most fun weeks I've ever had as far as writing and just creative stuff. It's been a blast. And Nick, you were going to say something about that too, about like, how do you about writing alone as opposed to writing with a group.
I've done it alone most of the time, and it can be quite lonely. That's no revelation. But the thing we keep finding is that we kind of said this just a minute ago, but it's both more fun and more efficient, right?
Yes.
And so like when I'm going at it alone, I'm sort of like just typing away pages. So like you're sort of sitting there going like, well, this is my best idea. I think this is good. I hope it's good. And the next day you're reading, you're like, it's not good, is it? But when you're sitting there with other people that you trust, who you know have a track record of doing good things, and everyone affirms the idea, then you can move forward with some confidence way faster. And all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, well, if we all say that's good, then what's the next thing, right? And you just don't get that alone, right?
The dynamic has been really cool. It's just that interaction has been part of the joy. Something we did with Adventures in Odyssey, we did the writer's room there, and I found, like, in writer's room experiences, you could do as little as 2, which is cool. You could do a writer's room experience with with a buddy, with a friend, pal, writer's person. But as far as amount of people, it's like subjective here, but just like around 7 people is kind of the max you would do. But with Odyssey, we did this too, where we played off of each other, and we just kind of played off each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you cover each other's weaknesses. There's a trust there. And some people's, this person's strong with dialogue, this person's strong with structure, this person's strong with comedy stuff. So you play to those strengths, and your project turns out much better. It's been, anything else on the there?
You guys said it really well.
Okay. We just like information. That's all. Okay. We're done. Okay.
Well, I actually have a question for you two, the main guys. I'm Aaron, and I'm sorry, what's your name?
Jeff.
That's right.
Jeff, sorry, for Aaron and Jeff. Going into this, you guys had a very clear idea of maybe where you wanted to go. It very foggy on certain ideas. This whole week, has it gone kind of the way you guys expected, or has it taken some left turns that are for the better? Like what was the coming into it versus where you are now kind of expectation wheel?
Well, as far as expectations, I think it's far surpassed what we hoped for. Like we had a good checklist of what we want to accomplish, and we basically started, running through those and really nailing those as we went. I think for me, like one of the biggest sort of left turns, I remember, John, on Monday, you're like, I think we need a villain. I was like, I feel the need for that. It'll find its way. And I was like, there's no chance. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And the next day, it was like, I can't imagine not having this villain. This is the best thing that could have happened to our main character's story arc. Like you had to have that thing. And it's amazing that like how other people come compliment what you're doing and really kind of reveal things that kind of in your blind spot. Yeah.
We all have blind spots. That's a cool thing about this. It's when you all have everybody has blind spots. It helps if somebody else sees what you don't see. That kind of thing. So that really helps. Yeah.
Nick, what about what about you and Nick coming into this kind of blanked? Because I'm sure you got the full pitch from Aaron and Jeff, and immediately the gears start turning. Is it kind of gone the way you guys expected as well, just on the other side of the coin?
I came in pretty, I've been aware of this project for a while because I know these guys. And there was even a point where I wrote a draft of a pilot just because that had happened some. And I was like, if this is helpful, great. And that's kind of how I approached this week. Like if I'm saying something helpful, great. Steal all my best ideas. I sort of believe in what's going on and sort of hope that it could be, mutually beneficial in some way. And it is, because my goal coming in was like, I hope I can contribute and I hope I can learn something. So that's happening for me. So I think it's been super successful and exceeding my expectations for those two things, like more educational than I hoped. I feel better about what I've been able to say, maybe because these guys are really affirming and kind, and we'll find out later I was an idiot. I feel really like that.
That's cool. Thank you. Going through it, I guess from as far as expectations, I'm an optimist. I'm sorry. I'm just that's what it is.
Never apologize
for being
an optimist.
But here's what it is. It's not just optimism. I've got faith. And that's not just because I'm like a great man of faith or anything. It's because I've seen God come through so many times. We pray, we just ask God, we need you, kind of thing. And that's a great leveling field, but it's also a great infuser of creativity. I mean, there's nothing like creating with the creator, which is pretty amazing. We know it's him working through us. And I've seen it work 100% of the time when we get together as a writer's room. And it's like, we've got this is a big task before us. Yeah. Mapping out 48 episodes.
Oh, wow. You guys are going that large. Jeez.
For like how many years, and then doing the pilot and doing the characters and mapping out all season 1, and that's a lot to do. I mean, a week is that's a lot to do, and plus have fun. So all that, it's like, and we knew to go. That's a big task, but I know it's like every time God comes through, he's just like, I've seen it happen. And so like, if I looked at it without the God component, I would be Scared to death. You know, because like without him, it's like, first of all, it's boring and it just doesn't, I mean, you can get it done. People do it outside of God, sure, but it's like a lot more fun with them. And there's other moments we hit where it's like we go, oh, that's cool. You know, we just know it. And you just, that's a lot of divine inspiration. So.
Now, John, I know you're I mean, you're talking about writer's room a lot. For all of you, what is one thing you've learned in this past week that you didn't know going into this writer's room?
That's a great question.
Oh, for me, it's that this was theory, and now we know it works. Like, we thought this would work. We thought we could achieve the things like Aaron said on that list and get something. We would be happy if we got half the things we planned coming into here. But we are filled to overflowing with creativity now. This is going to last well beyond the week. It's opened the door, and now we've invited in collaborators that are up to speed on everything, and you know, we have momentum from it. And I think the amount of success is the biggest surprise to me. I had faith that it was going to be good. I had no idea it was going to be good. Like this is just amazing. I was already thinking, like, when can we do this again? When can we have another one?
How about for you?
What was the question?
How does this line up with your expectations? You expected this. How does it line up?
Well, no. What did you learn? What have you learned?
Okay, yes. Better. Thank you.
I mean, two things I think that come to mind. One was how fast you could actually go. That was kind of a surprise. You know, we had our list of our wish list, basically what we could accomplish. But yeah, just everyone kind of working together, trying to solve the same problems. It goes pretty fast. Yeah, and that was kind of a surprise, and constantly surprised every night. Like, we did all of this. This was one day. It feels like it was like 4 days, right?
I remember. Yes, we're just like, wow. Yeah.
And I think the other thing just is my own personal limitations. It's like the limitations of my inexperience have been a thing that has kind of just been a problem. A lot of theory, but not a lot of practice, if that makes sense. So working with people who are actually more practiced in this discipline, in this art form, allows me to plug in. It allows me to, I'm learning so much from that. It allows a lot of the ideas that we've had to plug in the right way, the right time, the right place. And that's, I think, the difference between knowledge and experience is like dots on a graph is knowledge, and then all those dots connected is experience. And that's the big difference. You can have the knowledge, but going through it with somebody who knows what they're doing is helpful.
It's been a lot of fun. Nick, for you, how about for you? Anything that was?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still learning something. I'm still learning something about process. We had a conversation at some point about there's a project I heard about recently that sort of like started with all the comedy of their project first. I talked about this when we were meeting a little while ago, and they found like, well, anything that was sort of a sticky joke to them, or like explored it a little bit, and if they could sort of add a character arc to a joke, then it made its way into the movie. So they sort of wrote comedy first, and that's not been what we're doing. It sounds a little tricky, but it was interesting sort of to hear that process. And we're doing a more traditional thing. We're like trying to get a really solid story, and then worry about comedy and sort of layering the jokes later. But the process that's sort of revelatory to me is that everything we're doing this week, that's what I do. Like, that is bread and butter. Like, I do this all day. I love it. I've done it a million times now. And it's really, really unusual because normally I would do this stuff, and then in live action, we would take the script and then figure out, what do these characters look like? And so what do these environments and locations look like? And coming from animation, it's like, you've done all these like drawings, there's these beautiful renderings of like spaces and places and characters. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's half done. I feel like so much work has already been done, and there's like there's something to already latch onto. But for me, it's a very different kind of process to have all of that work already ready, and it's sort of inspiring. Like, there's an artistic thing where people sometimes say like a great sculptor says, like, I'm just sort of revealing the thing that's already in there. And I feel like, to me, this has been like that more profoundly, because I feel like it's already in there. I'm just taking a chisel in one place, you're taking a chisel in another place, and see, there it is now. There's some more of the actual sculpture that we're trying to create.
That's good. That's good. We're going to wrap up in just a minute here, but anything else you guys want? We're going to answer a question we have from one of our listeners. But anything else you want to say about the process this week, or any other question you want to ask too, Brian? Just
oh no, that's
yeah. Yeah, but
Wonderful
anything else about
stuff.
this week that's been for you? Just any other kind of stuff that might be encouraging to people watching, or just anything you want to say to wrap up here?
Yeah.
And we'll jump in on the last question too, if you have any. But any other things about wrapping up?
If it seems like a good idea, I recommend trying it, because like it seemed like a good idea to us and it turned out successful. So whatever that's worth to someone, if they're thinking like, would it be worth it to pull together some help and isolate you from, that's another thing we
Yes.
kind of missed. We're very isolated from outside stuff. We all respect the process. We're not playing around on their phones or computers or anything. And most people are just using a paper, writing pad. We're very focused on what we're doing. And part of being where we are is really important for that. I think it's not just getting together at work or getting together on a Zoom call, because we've done those, but this is something different. This is something like a creative containment where we are isolated from a lot of other distractions. And that is a very, very useful thing for this process. To me, that's another element as to why you go that extra mile to kind of bring people out to a location and kind of symbolically lock us in a room.
Creatively, he forgot to mention that part. We aren't allowed out of here. So not until we get all the story bites. Yes, please. No. Okay. Anything else there?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of piggyback on what Jeff is saying. If we're talking about like the advantages of working with others and how it helps be fun and efficient, I think the thing that makes it work is finding those right collaborators.
Yes.
And people who can approach the project with humility and on an even level, where it's like no one's ideas are winning just because of who you are. It's about what the best ideas are. And my only suggestion, if you feel isolated, or if you feel like that's difficult to find people to collaborate with, offer to help others as a first step.
That's good.
What can you do to help someone else's project shine? And that might be a way to find those connections
and get that collaboration going. That's good. It's good. There's a joy in collaboration. It's just it's a lot of fun. How about you, Nick? Anything?
I'll try to see something different there, because I know that not everybody's going to just be able to like, okay, I'll just take a week off of work, spend a bunch of money to find an Airbnb and feed 3 other guys who are very hungry. You might be stuck alone. You just might, right? And I don't want people to be discouraged because they're by themselves, but there is an element of accountability to this that I think a person sort of running solo could still shape. The question was up there earlier, like, what about when you have writer's block? And I'm gonna be the meanie and say, I don't think writer's block is a real thing. Writer's block is a thing that people experience when they think they're supposed to be inspired in order to write. Just write. Just start writing. You need to show up to writing like it's a job plumbing. And one of the beautiful things about this you can do even if you're by yourself, I think, is that we said, okay, it's 9 a.m. It's time to start.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's a public goal in the room where we know we're trying to get this and this and this and this and this done this week. And so there's accountability here. And you can do that even if you're by yourself by sort of like telling other people, I'm going to have, whether it's chapters or pages or whatever it is, I'm going to have this much done by this time. Please check in with me. And then scheduling some time for yourself and saying like, those hours, those are story hours. And I'm going to show up to my job just like my plumber shows up, maybe even better than that guy's schedule sometimes. Sometime between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. I'm going to show up at 9 a.m. or whatever it is. I'm going to do my job for X number of hours. And I think if you create some accountability, you can even have some of these benefits if you're working alone.
That's really good. That's really good. Well, we wanted to wrap up with go ahead, a question with JD.
John, I think you guys in this process have given JD our question a partial solution. Just in all of this from getting point A to point Z, as JD has said. I'll read out the question real quick from JD. Thank you, JD.
Yeah, we love questions, and we got a question from JD, and thank you, JD. We really, JD has been a wonderful just encouragement to us, and he also just encouraged people on Facebook to tune into Story Chat, which thank you, JD. It was very kind.
He's got his own
one, Audio Theater Central. He's got an amazing podcast there, so we do appreciate that. Thank you.
Go check that out. But thank you for the question, JD. Your question is, what is the next step when you know you have a great lead character, an intriguing story setting, a solid beginning, and you know where you want to end up, but you just don't know how to get from point A to point B, or should I say point Z? The context, that is where I am with the story I'm working on. It began as a short story, but as I worked on and began researching my story setting, I realized there was a really rich history and tons of potential there. So I have this idea, a great beginning, and some notion of the things I want to explore. I just don't know how to get there. Any thoughts or advice? Now, to me, it just seems like that's exactly where you guys were at the very beginning of this week. And now you're a week into it, and it's blossomed into this wonderful thing.
That's true. That's true. And collaborating with others helps that. We have a guideline we've used, and I'll give you, we're going to wrap up here. I'll give you a quick guideline, some questions we've asked that will help you, JD, and help others listening. So it's a great question. One thing is, a key question is, who's your main character? What do they want more than anything else? That's your driving question. It's going to drive that story. That passion for what they want with high stakes, that's important too. We'll come back to that later. But what does that character want more than anything else? They've got to have that thing. And it's a matter of life and death, kind of thing. And the better, the more compelling that want, that's going to drive your story forward. So in your story, what does your character want? And then what makes it deep is, what goes to a subtext level is, what does your character need? What do they need inside them? What's a character quality they're missing? Or what's a faith they're missing, a courage? There's something they're missing inside. They need that something to get what they want. And that's, so you got two storylines. You get your outer storyline. What do they need? And you go through all, they hit their, they go for it, and they hit an obstacle, they hit a conflict, that kind of thing. And then what do they need? You map that story underneath it as well. You increase your, second thing is, and I'm going to talk about, second thing is to map out, I'll give you a simple answer. Increase your stakes. Increase your stakes. So if you're going along like, I'm not sure so take those stakes that you have and just increase them and keep increasing them. That opposing force. So your character is driving forward and you got something coming against them really hard. All right, increase those stakes as they go. Yeah.
John, is that what you kind of did when you said this story needs a villain?
We kind of did that. We started with who's our main character, which was kind of interesting because we thought it was one character. It actually was another character, which we knew like we probably should have this character do it because that's probably. But we really like this character, so we kind of it's like what you know what there it is. Let's start with that character. Okay, who's our main character? What do they want more than anything else? And then what do they need? And that was what pretty much drove the story. And we keep coming back to that. So that's your driver for your story. That'll get your story going. And then increase the stakes, increase those stakes, make them high. Because the more compelling the story, the more you're into it. And the third thing, this is really important, JD, this is for everybody listening, this has helped us a lot, is that story, that roadmap we talked about. It's 10 beats. You can find, Save the Cat has one, Writer's Journey has another. There's all these story beats. I've got it down to 10, which is like really easy for me. I like something easy. So as you map out those 10 story beats, that story is going to come alive. You're going to, because it's open, ordinary world, inciting incident, crossing the threshold. You got your twist. You got all that. You map it out step by step, and your story, you just fill in the blanks. It's amazing. It's kind of a left brain activity, but you map out, as you map out those story beats, you just fill them in, and your story, it comes alive. It's just amazing what happens. So that's what I would suggest.
Hopefully that helps you out, JD. Thank you for the question.
I hope so. And we got some other questions. Austin and Peachy asked some other questions. We'll answer those in the coming weeks. Ask some really good questions. And so we'll have those coming up. But just thank you guys for supporting our podcast here for Story Chat. Thanks to JD, we like doubled our numbers last week. It's like, thank you, JD. That was like a huge gift there. And I just want to thank my special guests, my bros here, my writing brothers. Hey, just thank you. Thank you for being with us, Jeff and Aaron and Nick. And hope you had fun.
Pretty good.
Okay. Okay. Pretty good. Okay.
Really good.
Really? Okay. It's been a lot of fun. It's been very fun. This week has been just amazing. So anyway, thank you guys. Hope this encouraged you and bless you. Anything else, Brian?
Oh, well, no, it's just if you guys haven't subscribed to the podcast, go ahead and give it a subscribe, and then it'll be on your feed whenever you go back to listen to a podcast. So you can constantly be up to date on and hopefully encouraged and impassioned on storytelling. We have a YouTube channel, which all the stuff goes. So if you want to see John's smiling face, and he wears a lot of blue shirts for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. He's got a thing for blue shirts, but he's got this wonderful energy and the killer smile that if you guys see it, hopefully that alone will just encourage you. The energy on screen is awesome. So you can watch us interact, and that's always cool. We do also have a Facebook page. I'm trying to get into publishing on that a little bit more. So if you could just help and support us through those three things. And we're just continually trying to grow. And I think this episode will be 35, 36 or something. So coming up on a year fast, your podcast. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. And it's just been an awesome journey.
Thank you. And Brian, thank you for being part of this. You got us started. So thank you. Thank you. It's been a joy. And I want to wrap up with what Nick said is just as you're writing there as you're at home or you're writing with others or whatever, this is all about, we want to encourage you. And something that Nick said was really important is just write. It's sort of like a therapist, like, stop that. The therapist, going through a terrible problem, just stop that. Okay. It seems like simple, but it's a really important advice. Just write. Don't worry about it's perfect or what about is it the right whatever. Don't worry about if it's right. Don't worry if it's perfect. Don't worry about it. Give yourself permission to write something bad. Okay, it's okay. Okay, and just put it on the page. Once you put it on the page, then you can come back and hammer on it and something. But just write. Just write. Just get writing is what Nick was saying. So
it's very difficult to revise something that doesn't exist yet.
That's true.
This was profound. No. Yes. Okay. Good stuff. Blessings to you guys. I hope this encouraged you and encourage you to do something like this, a writer's room, a mini writer's room with your friends or whatever. It's a blast. So appreciate you guys.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Story Chat. If you want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions for John or feedback on the show, please email us at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.